What's up, everyone? Welcome back to the channel. So for this horror news update, we are keeping the information coming as much as we possibly can when we can as it relates to 28 years later. And as you see from this, I think this is something we've in a way been waiting for ever since we got that first image that literally everyone freaked out about. Everyone thought it was Cillian Murphy, including myself. Did a video on it as well, along with everyone else saying, "Oh my gosh, this is Cillian Murphy. They gave him the rage virus. He's gonna be a zombie," only to find out literally within 24 hours, the actor who's actually playing that particular rage virus victim came forward and said, "Nope, that's actually me, not Cillian Murphy." And we came back out with another video saying, "Yep, we were wrong, like everyone else. It's not him." It looked just like him, though. I mean, you can't say that the makeup was pretty close to making it look like Cillian Murphy had the rage virus. Now, with that said, we covered various other reports about what role is he actually going to be playing in this first film as part of this new trilogy. A sequel to the original two films, but then also kicking off the beginning of a new trilogy. And many of us, like myself, thought, okay, great, he's coming back. We're going to see Jim again. And we soon after that found out, he's not coming back. He's not even going to be in this first film coming back. But here we have it. Danny Boyle confirms Cillian Murphy will appear in 28 years later at the Bone Temple, which we know is the second film, which we do know has already, if I remember correctly, has already completed filming. That one's done and ready to go. It's just a matter of releasing it. Now, I'm wondering, though, where this article is going to go. I mean, it can't just be a matter of, oh, he's just going to be in it. So hopefully this article will give us a little bit more detail as to maybe what type of role he could be playing, how much, because I don't want to see it just be a cameo. I don't want to see it just be, we're halfway through and not knowing, let's take a step back, and not knowing how this is going to play out, meaning how will the first film lead right into the second, where the second film picks up immediately where the first film is kind of ending? Are we going to get like a time jump between all three of these films, or are they really going to be just running concurrently, from a timeline perspective, which I hope that's the case. I don't want to see time jumps. I don't want to see between the first and second film, it's, 3 months or a year or whatever. I want to literally see it be like, it ends, like the first film ends, and then where the second film starts, it's literally picking up, whether it's like the next day or a couple of hours, maybe something like that. The most maybe a week, but I don't want to see months or years time jump. So let's jump into these article details, see what we can learn more about what Cillian Murphy will be, his role in this new trilogy is going to be. This picture, if you're in any way a horror fan or have in any way know about this franchise, this is an image from the first film, 28 Days Later. Excellent film. I know they with this kickstart of this new sequel trilogy, they have was it 2 or 3 months ago, they put 28 Days Later back out there for purchase on digital. So if you because for the longest time for years you could not buy it on digital. You could only get 28 Weeks Later, which was the second film. Definitely was much weaker than the first film. But they brought it back out for purchase. So if you have not purchased at least a digital copy, I would highly recommend you go do that before they pull it down, because I would not be surprised at some point they do pull it down, because it has been out of print from a physical media perspective for quite some time. So if you want to even purchase this film from a physical media perspective, it's going to come secondhand, and you're going to pay quite a price for it, whether that's through eBay or a marketplace like Facebook or Amazon. I know I bought a physical copy of it long ago when the film first came out. And it's somewhere on a shelf somewhere. It's not something usually when films go out of print, I don't tend to watch them as much, just because if I only have one copy of it, I try to cherish that copy and make sure I don't ruin it in any way. So, all right. So it was previously confirmed that 28 Days Later star Cillian Murphy would not be appearing in the upcoming sequel 28 Years Later. Yeah, we heard about that. We talked about that, report on it. Was greatly disappointed in that, and we found out that he's serving more, in that case, more of an executive producer type role behind the scenes, which was very disheartening to find out. So, director Dan Boyle has confirmed that the actor will officially appear in the planned Trilogy's second installment. 28 years later brings the Rage virus back to theaters on June 20th, 2025. So we're just weeks away. The June 20th, that puts us literally 2 weeks from the film dropping. I am going to do my best to see this film in theaters. Obviously, I have challenges in going to movie theaters myself, so I try my best to try and see some of these, especially these bigger ones that I know I will absolutely want to see. If not, we'll obviously wait for it to become available on digital. I think this one might be a little bit longer before it hits digital and VOD, probably a couple months. The trend we've seen this year thus far has been 3 weeks, 3 to 4 weeks, especially in the horror space, 3 to 4 weeks before films hit digital. So, and then usually around 6 weeks before it hits streaming. So if we can't see this in theaters, we'll definitely get it on digital and do a spoiler review. All right, so let's continue on. 28 years later, brings Rage Rise to June 20th. It follows up Nia DaCosta's 28 years later, The Bone Temple is slated to release in theaters on January 16, 2026. So I do hope that date sticks. I hope that date doesn't get pushed out to a summer type movie. Because I don't think we have a date for the third film. I don't know if the third film's even started filming. So let's continue, because it might tell us. The third installment of the planned trilogy has yet to secure financing, which is where Cillian Murphy factors in. Okay, I didn't know that. That's interesting. Quote, she gets a bit of Cillian at the end. That's okay. Boyle told Business Insider when speaking about DaCosta's sequel. Okay, that's disappointing. Let's keep going. All I can say is you have to wait for Cillian, but hopefully he will help us get the third film financed. Cillian Murphy played protagonist Jim in 28 Days Later back in 2002, a bicycle courier who ends up being one of the few survivors of the apocalyptic events of the hit Infection movie. Boyle's comments on the actor's appearance in The Bone Temple suggest that Jim will play a much bigger role in the third installment if greenlit. Oh man, that's okay. So 28 years later, quote, it's been almost 3 decades since the Rage virus escaped the biological weapons. Okay, I think this is just now the synopsis. We've covered this multiple times. We're not going to read that. Casting information, the Bone Temple. So this is the poster for it. We saw some of this. So we do know we're going to see some of the Bone Temple in the first film. We've seen that in the trailers and even in some of the stills as well. Especially with Ray Fiennes, his character. When you see him in the trailer, you see he's within the Bone Temple, it looks like. So let's get back to some of these very specific points though here. She gets a bit of Cillian at the end, Boyle told Business Insider when speaking about DaCosta's sequel. Okay, so that's very, very disappointing. Then he goes on to say, all I can say is you have to wait for Cillian, but hopefully he will help us get the third film financed. There was something else here. Boyle's comments are the actor's appearance in The Bone Temple suggests that Jim will play a much bigger role in the third installment. So this tells me, again, I feel like they could have never mentioned Cillian Murphy being involved in this trilogy at all. I think the only reason they did was because of this right here. And to me, that's a little sketchy. You mentioned, Cillian Murphy's returning. Everyone really thought he was returning for this first film. He's not. Now we're finding out just from that, she gets a bit of Cillian at the end. So that implies to me that in the second film, he's only coming up at the end of the film. Whether that's the last 5 minutes, I would imagine he's only going to probably be in that film for probably the last 15, 20 minutes, if that. And now they're using that as the biggest chess piece, the biggest play that they have in order to get the third film financed. They don't even have financing for the third film. And here, play a much bigger role in the third installment if greenlit. So okay, there's no financing for it, hasn't been greenlit. So all of this hype about Cillian Murphy coming back in a way has been a lot of, for me now reading this new information is bait and switch. This is very much like the whole Buffy the Vampire Slayer situation. Where oh, she's coming, she's coming back for this big role. She's coming back to reprise it, and only to find out, oh no, she's just a guest star. I mean, come on. That was one of the biggest bait and switches that I think we've seen thus far. And I'm surprised no one else at the time was really calling it out. I called it out. I'm not to say I was the one that uncovered it, but I was the one putting the pieces together. The fact that Sarah Michelle Gellar was first saying, oh, I'm never going to do it, never going to do it. Oh, now I'm saying it's the right story. And then all of a sudden, yep, I'm coming back. She was the main headline for all these articles. Then within a week or so, the articles were coming out, but they were going under the radar. Like, oh, well, she's just, I think it was first, the script calls for this new Slayer. And this is like their code name, which implied, wait a minute, what about Sarah Michelle Gellar? Then it came out, no, she's only guest starring, guest appearing. And I think it's going to be very much like the role she's played in Dexter Original Sin. Very much only in a couple of episodes, and the episode she's in, she's literally only on screen for 5 minutes, if that. I think that's the most she's going to play. And then after that first season, if it goes beyond that, she's going to be done. She'll be a producer. She'll be behind the scenes kind of guiding, but she won't be in the show anymore. Maybe do another guest appearance like in episode 5 or 6. So all that to say is I feel like that's what's happened here. Cillian Murphy was used. His name was used to get hype around this. Everyone thought he was coming back for the first film. That's not the case. Now we're finding out in these small little details, he's really not even in the second film. And now we're finding out, well, wait a minute, the third film isn't greenlit, and we're hoping with Cillian that we can get the third film even financed. So it sounds like to me, let's first wait and see how the first film plays, then the second film, and if the audience is really backing this and hyping it, then maybe we can get the third film financed, greenlit, and then we'll bring Cillian in for a bigger role. Which then tells me they'll probably just kill him off. Bait and switch. I think this is trash. Very disappointing to read this news. But I thought, I'm not going to keep this disappointment to myself. I'm going to share this disappointment with all of you as well who didn't know this information as I didn't. So we can all be disappointed together in how Hollywood and studios continue to do this, where they will use names like this to garner up a bunch of hype for a film. And that's not to say I'm not going to see this film. I'm going to see it. I'm a horror fan. I'm a fan of the first film. I'm interested to see how this film's going to play out. But it still leaves just a bad taste, right? That the fact that, he's not going to be in the first film. He's really not in the second film. There may not even be a third film. And if there is a third film, it's really going to hinge on, Cillian really helping us get the financing for it, which I think is an absolute joke. So anyways, that's going to do it for this horror news update. Drop a comment in the comment section. Let me know what you think. Do you think this was a bait and switch this whole time? Are you just now finding out as well that Cillian Murphy is only going to be in maybe a small fraction at the end of the second film, and the third film may not even happen now? So again, drop a comment in the comment section. Let me know what you think. And if you haven't done so already, please like, share, and subscribe to the channel. Otherwise, we'll see you at the next one. Later.